My name's Laura Carter,
And I'm Nasir Richards.
and for our project, we did Saved by the Bell Imagine. The sitcom Saved by the Bell ran from 1989 to 1993 and followed six straight laced high school friends' misadventures. After identifying problematic components and an analysis of parameters, we reimagined how certain episodes would have played out, with more realistic consequences or healthier alternatives. We used Running Zach, Model Student, Screech's Woman, and Jesse's Song for our analysis.
In Screech's Woman, women and intelligence are stereotyped and misrepresented. Screech is upset that he cannot talk to a woman properly. This affects his confidence, and he does not have the motivation to do anything. This includes the science project he and Zack have to do. Zack's answer to this is to cross-dress as a woman and seduce Screech into asking his female persona to be his girlfriend. After succeeding, Zack is the only one who knows about Screech's pretend girlfriend. After he lets the other members of the gang know, they go along with it because they believe it's helping Screech. The principal, Mr. Belding, does not have control over how the kids treat nerds and dorks. Instead of addressing the issue, he thinks the nerds just need confidence. This teaches mixed messages about manipulation and gender exploitation. The show reinforces the idea that in high school it is not cool to be a nerd or different from everyone else. Only the cool and popular boys had a chance to get girls. They influence how the next generation will grow up and see things, and probably condition children not to appear as smart because they now associate it with being uncool. As lots of teens watched it, when they went into high school, they assumed it was normal to make fun of nerds or dorks. This enforced social hierarchies in schools. It separated kids into different groups based on interests and intelligence. In our reimagining of this episode, Screech goes to one of his female friends for advice and is brought to an actual relationship therapist. They deconstruct his issues in a normal, healthy manner and identify anxieties and toxic behaviors that were impeding him. Zack crashes the meeting looking for Screech and tries dismissing the therapist's suggestions for Screech. Screech stands up for himself. This represents the opportunity for the show to consult an actual professional about these issues and show the viewers a healthier way to confront a similar situation. Our only trouble with reimagining this would be how to make it exciting, as the misadventure is the thrilling part of Saved by the Bell.
Jessie's song follows high achiever Jessie's struggle with caffeine pill addiction. Her addiction paired with stress over never having enough time to study on top of her new commitment to a singing group culminates in a breakdown. An article written by the executive producer revealed that it was originally supposed to be Speed in the episode, but they never properly changed the script to reflect this. The show misrepresents pill use and addiction by not changing the script to properly show the effects of caffeine pills instead of speed. This was set in the 1980s/early 90s and was seen as a very special episode to address a social problem of the time. Many viewers expressed concern over this episode because they did not understand why her reaction was so strong because it was just caffeine pills. By not addressing the fact that the script was about speed, it kind of gave viewers the idea that these over the counter pills are a lot stronger than they are. Because the audience for this is kids and teens, they have an incorrect perception of caffeine pills and the repercussions of them. This episode was originally made to address the speed epidemic of the time, and I feel that because they did not address the changes, it did not properly address the impact. And our main change for this episode when redoing it is we just want to go back to the original script and address the actual epidemic that was going on.
Model students follow Zack after he convinces the principal to fire the nerds who run the bookstore and to let Zack and his friends run it instead. Bouncing off the previous point of the show normalizes being mean to nerds and dorks. This shows the young audience it's okay to behave this way. After nobody wants to go to the new bookstore, Zack turns to exploitation and objectification to get his way, enlisting Screech to take pictures of the girls' swim team without their knowledge. Zack uses the pictures in a calendar that he sells for a profit. The calendar finds success, and Zack does not get in trouble for violating the swim team's privacy. An actual adult photographer gets wind of the calendar and descends on the school to take additional pictures of the underage girls. This is not questioned and met with excitement. However, when Kelly, Zack's love interest, is given a legitimate shot at fame and fortune, Zack sabotages her through guilt tripping. Because Zack is a biased and unreliable narrator, it is possible he does not show the audience elements that would hold him responsible or vulnerable. The implication of this is that the harmful message is reinforced into the audience. In our reimagining of this episode, we wanted to show the legal repercussions of photographing underage girls without their consent, and introduce Title IX to the audience. Our struggle with this episode is how to not objectify the cast in crafting the message.
In Running Zack, the stereotypically white Zack finds out he has Native American history while doing research for a history speech. He calls himself Running Zack as there is a track meet for the sake of the episode. Throughout the episode, he is seen stereotyping and mocking Native American clothing and culture. Jessie finds out her ancestors were slave traders, and after saying her friend Lisa had an enslaved ancestor, harasses her into forgiving her to relieve her white privilege. Some problematic components of this episode were white privilege, white guilt, stereotyping, and appropriation. This can be seen in both of Zack's speeches, where he mocks Native American voice, dressing, as he says, savagery. And although his second speech was supposed to be more of a redemption, he still appropriates part of Native American culture for it. And then throughout the episode, you can see Jessie harassing Lisa to get forgiveness for her ancestors being enslaved, as she claims that this guilt is too much to bear and basically just shows white guilt. This minimizes Lisa's feelings and experiences as a minority student. This is kind of being allowed to happen as Zack is the main character, and during this time, minority students and minority populations weren't really seen or represented well in the writing process. The parameters for this episode were that the audience were kids and teens, and it was on Saturday morning, so it reached a large audience. It influenced how they saw high school and what they thought these representations were actually like, and it had this influence as it was a major show at the time. And the social repercussions of this are that kids are going to think that it's okay to portray Native Americans in this way and portray their culture this way, and think that just getting a second chance to not exactly get it right, but to say it again is all you need for forgiveness. And then our reimagining for this is that Zack's offensive initial presentation goes viral, basically, and leads to him being canceled at the school, and it's used as an example to Jessie, who is told that her harassment of Lisa is problematic and minimizing, and they just don't gloss over that of just saying, oh, I forgive you, we're friends again. And I want this episode to follow his interactions with a native elder and to explain more in depth how his behavior is harmful and the personal impact that similar behavior has caused. And I want his final presentation to just be him as he is, completely normal, and talk more about how similar behavior has harmed that community and really drive home that point.